Hello everyone, I'm Saara. I'm a co-founder and a board member of Soilfood company. I'm also co-founder of another startup called Creative Power. I'm the chair and co-founder of Baltic Sea Action Group Foundation, and then we have 2 pilot farms that we develop into carbon farming and nurturing biodiversity. So I move around in the food chain with many tools and in many phases. But today I talk about the Soilfood company because we have a industrial service there, and we do the full service for industrial and for industry and also for the farmers. We say that we're a startup with long roots. We have a long background of environmental work, all the founders of the Soilfood. And also when developing the sustainable agriculture, you really need to take a look into the roots. The company might not be a startup anymore, it's a few years and it's growing fast, so it might be a growth company, but anyway, we are a relatively new company with the long roots. We're often asked, why are we called the Soilfood? So I'll split the name into 2, soil and food. So the first reason is that when talking about food, and everyone understands food, that's a good term. When talking about food, we want to focus on the inputs and the practices of producing food. It has the biggest significance for the environment. And we want to talk to the consumers also, although our customers are farmers and industry. Well, soil is essential. Soil is like the skin of the earth. And when it's healthy, it's a powerful tool for the climate change and environmental work. Baltic Sea, healthy soil absorbs the CO2 and keeps the nutrients in good use, not letting them go into the Baltic Sea and cause eutrophication. And healthy soil is a necessity for all of us. We need it for the food production, and we can also use it, as said, as a tool in the environmental work. So these 2 reasons we're called the Soilfood, but the third one is the most important. Why are we Soilfood? This actually, the whole, what's happening underneath the surface of the soil, so underneath here, this whole is called the Soilfood web, and that's why we're called the Soilfood. These are our most valuable workers. These are the guys who actually make the nutrients available, keep the carbon in the soil or not if they're not feeling well or if they don't have ability to live. So if this network is not working, we have emissions, we have environmental problems, and to turn it around, if this one is working, then we can really say that the agriculture is efficient. Everything else is false or illusional efficiency. So when we have the biology working there, then we have a really efficient agriculture. And we, as a company, we try to give them home and everything this soil food web needs, so that this part of the soil is working perfectly, or as perfect as it can work. For the farmer, it means bigger yields, and for the environment, it means only good. 25% of all the Earth's biodiversity is in the soil. If we take away seas and oceans from these calculations, the number would be 97%. So of all the biodiversity in this planet, 25% is in the soil that we cannot see. And only when talking about the land areas, 97%. So that's worth valuing and worth nurturing. And as a soil food, we say that we feed the soil. There we have our fibers, soil amendment, with over 400,000 tons of recycled materials. We recycle materials from industry to the farmer. We have full service. We have biogas and paper and pulp industry as a client or clients, and then we have farmers. And why full service? Well, if you want to change the paradigm of how things are done now into more sustainable, it needs to be full service that is as easy as possible. We recycle fertilizer slurry from biogas and ethanol industry. We have soil improvement fibers from the forest industry. We have supplementary and micronutrients from process industry, and then we have lime and neutralizers to the soil, all recycled. So we're 100% recycled materials. These are our partners, clients, but we say partners because we really develop the industries into sustainable. And what are we doing with agriculture? Well, as the theme was circular economy, or it has been one of the emphasis in Finland so far, it's really a hot topic. So we realized that we're just doing this in practice. Agriculture and fertilizing normally has been done this way. You mine the raw materials, virgin materials from mines, or then you actually make the nitrogen fertilizer with very high energy input, because it takes a lot of energy to actually make the nitrogen fertilizer. So you have either virgin materials, or you use a lot of fossil fuels to make the fertilizer. Then you product it. If you use it conventional way, as everyone knows, agriculture is in big trouble at the moment globally and also in Finland. You have soil degradation, loss of soil carbon, and then you have emissions to the Baltic Sea and atmosphere. So no point in that way. But if you recycle the nutrients that are already in the system, as I showed you, the raw materials that we use, you recycle the nutrients, you use it smart way. We always say that it's not circular economy if you just take a pile here and move it in here, if it's not really what the soil needs. So you really have to do it smart. You recycle the nutrients, you recycle fibers. There has been a lot of loss of soil carbon. It needs more organic amendments. So we get that from paper and pulp industry. We have an agricultural know-how in the company. Almost every co-founder and founder of the company is a farmer. And then we recycle it to the fields using the crop rotation model and the know-how that we have from practice. For layman, I sometimes describe it that, well, we're sort of a Tinder of nutrients, that instead of just taking the bulk fertilizer in a bag, you can actually analyze the soil, and then you get the recycled raw material, the basic mass, as near as possible. That's always in this business because we have masses, so mass business means that you have to get it as close as possible. You balance the mass with needed nutrients. That way we can shift from the bulk fertilizing to tailored fertilizing. And then we actually have a patented recipe to boost the microbes. I'm getting back to the soil food web, to really give them a kickstart, how to start living again. And this is reality. If we want to change the paradigm, we have to do it always under the price of industrial fertilizers and with full service. Everyone knows that it's hard to change habits or hard to change practices. It applies here as well in agriculture. So even though we say that with these products you actually give benefits to your soil, you get more profitability to your agriculture, you get bigger yields, it's still hard to change the way you have always used to do. So it has to be easy. We're a young company. We have strong values, and still we make business. We're making profits, we're recruiting continuously, and it's a good signal that you can actually do things this way. Here's part of our team. And in a bigger scale, as I said, I've been in many startups, and I was in the pulled oats. I'm now in Sulapak, which is a recycled material replacing plastic. I have Soilfood, I have the bioenergy company. You can really see that the startups are changing industry. Of course, there's no burden that we have that we should turn around very slowly. So we can make fast moves, and we can also do things sustainably from the beginning as far as we understand things. And to understand things, we have a very strong R&D that's the only way to keep it sustainable. We need to be really on top of knowledge in these issues. But yes, you can see that startups are changing industries. Then, as an example of what we're doing, everyone knows what are the key numbers in companies. You have all the traditional numbers that in board meetings we have to check and we have to measure our operations. But on top of that, we actually in our board meetings, we do take a very strongly, or very big focus on this, that these numbers are good. And this is the kind of reporting that we're starting to give to our clients as well. So I'm sorry that this is in Finnish, we're just developing. This has been a calculating exercise. The numbers are not correct, it's only a part year. It's for the full year, they're bigger. But we did this in our operations that we calculated, first of all, the recycled nutrients. And how much do we actually recycle with the fertilizers and with the fibers and all soil amendments. And there we get figures, which we will report to our industrial clients and also in our own operations. We keep track on this. Then we calculate, and this is one of the most important things for the world at the moment, the carbon balance. It works two ways. We have to calculate the saved emissions and also the stored carbon. And the saved emissions here, for example, from paper and pulp industry, when we use the recycled fibers as a soil amendment, the alternative use would be to burn it. And that's how about 80% of the fibers are still used. It's burned with oil and peat. So we saved it from burning. And of course, when you burn the fiber, the carbon goes to the atmosphere. We saved the burning and we put it in the soil to give home to the microbes and soil food web, and as such to be an organic mass booster there. So we can calculate it, how much we saved the emissions and how much did we, part of that which is put into the soil can be calculated that actually stays there. Some of it is not staying, but some stays there. Then we can calculate the fossil fuel effect that when not using the virgin fertilizer, nitrogen fertilizer, but use the recycled nitrogen, how much did we actually save the CO2? And then we can calculate that how much CO2 did we save when not using virgin lime, but recycled lime. And of course, as it's a mass business, we have to operate also by car and deliver these things. We have to calculate our own emissions. And that's there as a minus. And then with lime, we also do the same thing. There we can add that we can, because the structure lime improves the soil structure, and the first effect is that when the structure is good, it does not give emissions to the Baltic Sea or other water bodies. So we can actually say that we can calculate the half. We don't say that we immediately take all the emissions away, but we can say that at least the emissions will be half if you have the soil structure in good condition. So all in all, what do we do in soil food? We love the soil. And when the soil is in best condition, it really sequestrates carbon and produces better yields. And I can say that we're not fertilizing company as such, we're fertilizing soil amendment and soil nurture company, but I'm happy to say that fertilize less, because if you boost the biology, you don't need the input so much to the field. So when the biology is at its best, all these things work. And this is a picture of our R&D squares. We have the biggest organic test field in Parainen, Finland, where we test different kind of organic fertilizers, amendments, and biological boosters with Vapo clean waters also. And we have had excellent results. The surprising thing was that the structure effect, that how fast does it actually improve the structure of compacted soil, the structure effect could be seen in less than a year. Then we expect it to take more than 3 years to be, you know, in some kind of visible things. But this is from the square, from our squares. So you can really see that this is what the soil should look like. It has actually structure. It's not a bulk or compacted box, but it really has a structure. So that's what we do in Soilfood. Proud to say, aiming to be 100% sustainable, hoping to be also, and researching that we continue to be fully sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you, Saara. Very interesting presentation. Are there any questions from the audience?
All said.
All set, all done. Well, I do have a question. This is a tricky one as the first question, but if this could all be done, what you just presented, what's your best estimate? When is Finnish agriculture 100% done with this way?
Okay. Well, how fast?
Because I noticed that you said 80% of the
Fibers are still.
Fibers are.
Yes, we cover only some percent of the fields. There is a lot space to grow, but that whole Finnish agriculture would be sustainable. Well, I say that next 20 years we have to be a lot more sustainable. Otherwise, we're not surviving in this planet. But next 20 years will be the crucial ones.
Okay. What about, because this is a big business and nothing happens quickly and you have to calculate the masses, etc. But I'm always thinking about the individuals. What could be done on the individual level? What could all of us do to have a better agriculture or a better soil? Anything?
Yes, consumers have the power. You can always ask and demand for better products. And of course, okay, we're not pro Luomu or against Luomu. Luomu, it's on this towards this way, but it's not. You can do good Luomu or bad Luomu, and you can do good conventional farming or bad conventional farming. But you can always ask the producer and be interested in how the food is produced. Yes, okay. I know it's not easy, but still, if the consumers keep on asking and keep on pushing emphasis on that. For example, consumers can have an effect because then the big buyers will start saying that okay, you have to be produced this way or not this way because the consumers don't buy it anymore. So it is that way. Just keep on asking.
Okay. Any more questions? Yes, go ahead. Wait a minute. We have a catchbook for you. I won't toss it to. First, introduce yourself and then the question. Thank you.
Okay, my name is this? Yeah, Katri Päivärinta from Living Up Esihuolto. We are a municipal company that produces waste management services for customers. And I would like to ask your opinion about the resistance that we are facing in the markets now towards the sludge that is based from municipal wastewaters. What could be done for that?
Question for our company because we had to deal with that one. That's in a way that's an example of the consumer power because even the resistance, it didn't start from Finland, it started in Europe. And then if you have a big buyer of, let's say, wheat, who is also selling to Europe, so the company has only possibility is to put really restrictions on use of that. I know that there's not so much to do because it comes from the consumers in Europe, the pressure. So we had to face with that, and we in half a year the market was like that there was no use for sludge from the municipal wastewaters. So in my opinion, the only thing we can do is to develop the pyrolysis methods and everything that we can really treat it that way, that the harmful substances are away. Yeah.
Okay, any more questions? It's a professional here on stage. The trickier question, the better it is, I guess. Okay, I'll put the box away. You were saying that if the network is not working, then something bad happens. Okay. And that reminds me of the business as well. How do you sell, how do you pitch and sell the idea to the farmers?
Well, we start, of course, it depends on if you have a very soil-oriented farmer who already knows how the soil works. Mm-hmm. Well, that kind of farmer appreciates our products. He knows that he needs fibers, he needs these kind of, he knows the crop rotation already. If you have another end farmer who is only interested in easy way to farm and doesn't want to change habits, so first thing is that we of course always start with the price, that you need inputs to your production, and then we compare the price price of the inputs. And then I always say that you can start little by little, just like start testing something. You don't have to have a full crop rotation plan at the moment. We don't even mention that. You just start improving your soil from some corner. And then when you notice that, okay, this works, yes, this actually works, the neighbor who did it gets a better yield, so this is how it goes.
Okay, from mouth to mouth. Actually.
Yeah, you have to have good examples, and we have customers who can really say that their yields were really improved.
Okay.
Yeah.
My last question is about your schedules. If you are startup enthusiastic and there is a big challenge here, how do you find time for farming yourself?
By renting the land.
Okay.
Yes. One is rented to we work closely, but we're not actually driving the tractor by ourselves. And another one is we own the land, but of course we have workers doing that.
Okay.
So you have to do the thing where your input is, or your effect is the big one. So
okay.
That means prioritizing, yes, but
yes.
we do plan the things together, and we do plan what we're doing with the fields. Quite a lot of experimental stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Any more questions, ideas? Okay, we move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Saara.